Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. The TCM Spotlight on Southern Writers continues this evening with another film adapted from a great Southern writer. And I'm joined once again by my co-host, himself a great Southern writer, and the best-selling author of The Client, The Painted House, and so many others, John Grisham. Glad you're here, John.
Happy to be here.
Now, our next film is The Sound and the Fury. From 1959, it stars Gil Brynner, Joanne Woodward, Margaret Leighton, and Ethel Waters, with direction by Martin Ritt, based on a book by William Faulkner of Oxford, Mississippi. Now, this was a great book. I have not read the book, but I know you have. How does this movie version stack up?
Well, the book is extremely difficult to read. When you grow up in Mississippi, there's a state law, I think, that requires all high school sophomores to be force-fed William Faulkner.
Really?
And every high school English teacher thinks she can explain The Sound and the Fury. And it cannot be explained. It cannot be interpreted. Faulkner tried to make it as complicated as he possibly could, and he was a genius, so he got by with it. I've tried to read the book later in college. 20 years ago, a Faulkner scholar at Ole Miss tried to explain the book to me, and so I tried again to read it. The great thing about the movie, it simplifies a very, very complicated story. And the way Faulkner told the story, he bounces back 40 years. Some of the characters have the same names. It's, you know, just deliberately an effort to drive the readers crazy. The movie's a very simplified version of a story of this, you know, it's typical Southern Gothic, a great family in its decline, conflict in the family, insanity, sexual escapades. Just, you know, it's got everything.
Like The Neighbors.
Yeah.
Yes. All that stuff going on.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's got a great cast.
Yeah,
wonderful actors.
Yeah. Gil Brynner, you know, is the lead, and it was, you know, the movie came out 30 years after the novel, and it was the movie was not well received. The book was not well received. When Faulkner published the book in 1929, it didn't sell. It didn't sell, period, until he published Sanctuary about 5 years later, and that was a scandalized, you know, murder, rape thing that he wrote. He says he wrote just for money. Once Sanctuary came out in the mid-1930s, he started getting some attention, and it's The Sound and the Fury, which he always said was his greatest work, because it was his greatest failure. His most ambitious novel was his biggest failure, but that was The Sound and the Fury. But it finally got noticed later in life. By the time Faulkner was 45, he was in L.A. writing screenplays to pay the bills. He and F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Interesting they would try to make a movie out of it if it's that complicated.
Very interesting.
Jerry Wald, I think, at 20th Century Fox.
Yeah. It was not a success. It was, even then, it was complicated.
Well, let's have a look at the film. Here it is from 20th Century Fox in 1959, directed by Martin Ritt, terrific director. The Sound and the Fury.